She wants you badly, but the closer you get, the more she pulls away. One moment she's laughing at your jokes and leaning in, the next she's cold, distracted, distant. You're left wondering, did I do something wrong? No, you didn't. You're just walking into territory no one warns men about. When a woman is falling for you, but she's terrified, not of you, of what you represent. Because love, real love, demands, and for a woman who's been hurt, betrayed, or abandoned before, that kind of openness feels like standing naked in a storm. So instead of surrendering, she resists, she retreats, and if you don't understand what's happening, you'll think she's losing interest, when really, she's trying not to lose herself. This is where most men fail, not because they're weak, but because they misread the signs. They chase when they should stand still. Sow their asher when they should remain calm. They try to fix what isn't need fixing, only witnessing. Stoic men do things differently. You're not here to decode her. You're here to hold your frame, sharpen your awareness, and recognize the unspoken signs she's silently screaming for you to hear. Because when a woman's heart is opening, but her past is pulling her back, it takes a grounded man to lead, not with force, but with presence. So, if you've ever felt confused by a woman who clearly wants you but can't seem to let you in, stay right here, because in this video, we're breaking down the 10 secret signs she's falling for you. But fear is keeping her from surrendering. The signs, see subtle, mutants, you see them, you'll never unsee them. And by the end, you won't just understand her better, you'll understand her sift better too. Let's begin. Sign 1. She's vulnerable. 1. She's vulnerable around you. Around you. Let's get one thing straight. Vulnerability is not weakness, not in men, and definitely not in women. In fact, when a woman shows you her vulnerability, especially early on, it's one of the clearest signs that she's falling, but she's scared. Take Steve, 52, a business consultant in Atlanta, divorced for 5 years, emotionally grounded, financially solid. He recently started seeing Jennifer, 48, a high school vice principal. At first, things felt casual, light, comfortable. But one night over dinner, she opened up. She told him about her failed 20-year marriage, about how she stayed too long, about how she's afraid of becoming invisible as she ages. She ventured up mid-sentence, then immediately apologized for being too much. That's vulnerability. That's a woman who's letting you see under the surface now. Here's what most men miss. Vulnerability doesn't always come wrapped in soft language. Sometimes it's clumsy. Sometimes it's defensive. Sometimes it shows up as over-explaining or even subtle withdrawal. But if you're paying attention not just to her words, but to her energy, you'll see it. Why does this matter? Because a woman who's afraid of falling will instinctively test your ability to hold space for her emotion. She wants to know, can you stay grounded when she gets raw? Can you sit in silence when she doesn't have the words? Can you see her when shadow scent looked pretty? This is where Stoic discipline comes in. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, Yahov, power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and Yah will find strength in that moment. The outside event is her vulnerability. The man who panics, who overtalks, who rescues, fails the test. But the man Rosti's Cam, who listens fully, who doesn't judge, that man becomes the anchor she's been silently searching. Back to Steve. He didn't try to fix Jennifer's feelings. He didn't say, don't worry, or, you're amazing, or your ex was a jerk. He just listened. He looked her in the eye and said, thanks for trusting me with that simple, strong masculine. And you know what happened next? Okay, she started texting him more, asking to see him more, but this time with a softness she hadn't shown before. Here's the paradox most men miss. The more emotionally Safish feels around you, the more physically attracted she becomes. It's not just about how you'll look, it's about what you can hold. So next time a woman opens up about something real, her past, her insecurities, her fears, don't recoil, don't perform, don't explain. Just be present, because in her world, vulnerability is risk. And if she's cooing to show you that side, it means something in you feels safe to her, even if her words haven't caught up yet. And that is where connection begins. If you've ever had a moment like this with a woman where she let her guard down, and you felt it shift everything, drop this in the comments. Ear and trust. Let the world know you're not just here to chase chemistry, you're here to build connection, and don't go anywhere. Bees is the next sign. It's subtle, but it reveals everything. Sin 2, she asks for your opinion. Point 2, she asks for your opinion. Let's be real, most women today are independent, strong, capable. They mock decisions all day at work, at home, in life. So, when a woman turns to you and genuinely asks, "What do you think about her job, her outfit, her friend drama, even the smallest thing?" It's not random, she's not just curious about your take, scanning for something deeper. She's checking to see, does this man think clearly? Can he hold a perspective that's grounded? Is his judgment something I can lean into? Take Marcus, 55, a retired firefighter in Phoenix. Steady, grounded, no time for games. Been dating Dana, 47, a sharp, driven real estate agent. She's sussed to calling shots, making deals, and being in control. But over time, something changed. She started texting him, "Hey, what do you think about this blazer for the showing or over lunch? I have a weird feeling about this new client. What would you do?" These weren't throwaway questions. She wasn't fishing for validation. She was inviting him in. She was testing his mind because her heart was already intrigued. Here's the Stoic lens you need to see this through. Epictetus said, "We have two ears, and one mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." When she asks Sierra's opinion, don't rush in to dominate. Don't solve it. Don't preach. Instead, reflect. Respond from calm thought, not ego. The point is not to be right. The point is to be rooted. Because here's the truth. When a woman is falling for you, she wants your influence, but only if it comes from a place of masculine clarity, not control. She doesn't need down at her boss. She needs a man who knows himself and speaks from that center. Marcus didn't try to tell Dana what to do. He listened, asked a few questions, and offered his honest take. That calm presence, it made her relax. She told him later, "I don't feel like I have to carry everything when I'm with you." That's what she's really asking when she seeks your opinion. Can I rest in your perspective? Can I respect the way you see the world? If you react with insecurity or need to be impressive, she senses it and pull back. But if you respond like a Stoic man, observant, thoughtful, and honest, she lean and even closer. One more subtle cue touch for. She starts using your words. Later on, she quotes something you said. She rephrases your perspective when talking to friends. That's not just flattery. That's influence. That's trust, taking root. And remember, it's not always about big topics. Sometimes she asks, mething, as small as, should I wear the black dress or the red one? It's not a fashion quiz. It's her way of saying, I want you in this moment with me. I want to feel your energy here. So, next time she asks what to think, pause, ground yourself, then speak, not to impress, but to express that steady man you are, because in that moment, your opinion isn't just a thought, it's your window into your masculinity. If this has ever happened to you, if a woman started turning to you for insight you didn't even know she valued, type this in the comments. My perspective matters, and because it does, and the more calm strength you'll carry, the more she'll keep inviting you in. Ready for the next sign? Let's talk about the way she looks at you and what she's really trying to see. Sign 3. She can read your mind. She can read your mind. Let's cut through the noise. When a woman is falling for you, butterified of what that means, shadows can't always say it out loud. What she does instead is listen not just to words, but to your pauses, your eyes, your shifts in energy. She watches you like a hawk. And sometimes it'll feel like she can read your damn mind. That's not magic. That's emotional intelligence sharpened by attraction. Let's talk about James, 52, a divorced architect in Austin. It's been seeing a woman named Naomi, 48, confident, funny, but guarded. The kind of woman who survives betrayal and doesn't give her heart away is Lee. At dinner one night, James was unusually quiet. He didn't say anything was wrong. He kept the conversation going, but inside his head was somewhere else, still processing a stressful call with his adult son. Naomi put down her fork and tilted her head. "You're not really here tonight, are you?" she asked, not accusing, just observing. Gently, like she could feel the storm inside him without him needing to explain. That's the third sign. When a woman is catching feelings but doesn't know how to handle the vulnerability. She starts tuning in closer than usual. She starts syncing with your emotional undercurrents. She reads between your words, feels your tension before you name it. And here's what makes it so powerful and dangerous. If you're a man used to holding everything in, this can shake you. You might feel exposed, like your armor isn't working. But don't mistake that for weakness. That's connection. That's your saying without words, I'm with you in this moment. I see past your surface. Aitectos, a Stoic truth from Marcus Aurelius. Look within. Within is this fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up. You will ever dig. She's digging quietly. And if she finds substance there, if she sees your emotions aren't reactive but centered, she'll trust you more. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Did in James and Naomi's case. He didn't brush it off. He leaned in. He said, I'm distracted. Something heavy happened today. She nodded. No lecture, no overreaction, just presence. And with that moment after, something between them deepened. But here's the catch. A woman who read Sue that well can also be overwhelmed by it, especially if she's not ready to feel that connected. Especially, for past tells her closeness means eventual pain. So don't be surprised if after a deep moment of vulnerability, she pulls back a little, not because you did something wrong, but because she's terrified of what she just felt. This is where your stoicism matters. Don't chase, don't interrogate. Let her process. The calmer you remain, the more she feels safe returning. There's a subtle beauty in this kind of connection. She can finish your sentences. She notices when your energy drops. She remembers something small you mentioned 2 weeks ago that you barely remember yourself. That's not coincidence. That's emotional investment. That's her heart edging closer, even if her mind is screaming to protect it. So, if you notice, she reacts though, your mood's faster than anyone else. If she knows when to be quiet because you need space before you ask. If she says, I knew you'd say that, with a half smile, she's not just intuitive, she's connected. She's terrified and she's falling for you. Stay steady. Keep your emotions grounded, like a stoic man. Let her see that what she feels she can. Because once a woman realizes she knows you without needing all the words, she either gets closer or runs like hell. You can't control which, but you can control this. How deeply you show up in that moment. Let's keep going. Sin. It's not a book, she says. It's about what she avoids saying. Sign for she's scared of losing you. For she's scared of losing you. You ever notice when someone tries too hard to act like they don't care? It's usually because they care more than they know how to handle. That's exactly what's happening when a woman starts falling for you, but is scared to admit it even to herself. Here's the fourth sign. She's scared of losing you. Now, she may not say that out loud. In fact, if she's guarded, she'll do the opposite. She might act distant one day, then extra sweet the next. She might cancel plans, but then text you all night. It's a push-pull dance. And under all that fear, real fear, let me tell you about Malcolm, 56, a business consultant from Denver, divorced, for 8 years. Great career, grounded mindset. He started seeing Carla, 49, an executive assistant, strong woman, independent, kept her world tightly controlled. Things were good, simple, no drama, until Malcolm casually mentioned at that he might take a consulting project in Chicago for a few months. That's when the mask slipped. Carla didn't say don't go. She didn't beg, but something shifted. Got colder, less responsive. Then came the passive-aggressive comments, the sarcasm, the sudden space. Malcolm was confused, but the truth was simple. She was scared when a woman sees something valuable in you, especially if she hasn't felt that level of connection in a long time, or maybe ever. The thought of losing it can feel unbearable. But if she's been burned before, if trust feels risky, she might try to regain control the only way she knows how. By emotionally detaching Bear. You can hurt her. In her mind, it's safer to create distance now. Fanto suffer hard Brett later. The Stoics have a line for this. Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Her fear isn't always about something you did. It's the story in her head. The one that says he'll leave like the others, or he's too good to be true. But don't miss this, that fear is proof she feels something real. In Carla's case, Malcolm didn't react with confusion or anger. He stayed calm. Heck of her space. But he also made his intentions clear. I like you, I'm no tring, and if something's bethone you, you can tell me straight. That grounded clarity. It settled her. Harris part men often miss. When a woman is scared of losing you, it's not a memento backpedal or get defensive. It's a chance to lead with emotional steadiness, to show her that real men, they don't manipulate, they stand firm. But there's a fine line here. Don't reward erratic behavior. She tests you with emotional games. Don't play along. Respond with calm truth. She needs to pull away leather. but stay consistent. That's the test. That's what builds trust. A woman's scared of losing you. She'll be watching for proof that her fear is either justified or unnecessary. And the way you carry yourself in that tension will determine whether she lets the wall down or doubles it. So, if she's a Donnelly gets wet after a great connection, if she makes subtle jabs at other women around you, if she pretends like she's not invested, but her eyes tell a different story, she's scared and she's falling. Stay grounded, stay kind, stay honest. That's what Stoicism teaches us. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy, Marcus Aurelius. In this case, don't mirror her fear. Show her stability. Show her there's a mano, doesn't punish closeness, but honors it. When you doth it, you're no longer just someone she's dating. You're seaman she starts to trust. And when that happens, the fear fades. Now, let's talk about what happens when she starts avoiding labels. Not because she's unsure about you, but because Stoics are rigid to real. Sign 5, she tells you what she liked about you. Most women 5, she tells you what she likes about you. Hand out compliments lightly, especially not the kind that are real, specific, and unprompted. So, when Shell looks you in the eye and says, I love how calm you are when everything's falling apart, or, you make me feel safe in a way I'm not used to, don't shrug that off. That's not small talk. That's not flattery. That's vulnerability. Rest is praise. It's a sign she's falling, and she's terrified. Let's talk about Jeff. 52, divorced, runs his own architecture firm in Austin. Stoic in the best way.com, observant, doesn't say much, unless it matters. He's been seeing Dana, 48, a nurse who's been through her own Sharu heartbreak. Now, Dana isn't the overly expressive type, but one night after they had her, she paused before they said goodbye and said quietly, "You have this, like I can actually breathe around you." Most men just want to talk about themselves, but you listen, that means a lot. Jeff didn't know what to say, so he just smiled and said, "Thank you." Here's why. Need to understand. When a woman tells you what she appreciates about you, your strength, your presence, the way you handle life without panic, it's not just a compliment. It's emotional exua. She's letting you in. She's saying this is why you matter. And here's the key. She's scared of how much you matter. The Stoics would tell you if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Epictetus did in her world. Trusting someone again might feel foolish. She may have been let down before, maybe by a charming narcissist or by a man who seemed solid until the first storm hit. So, when Chess starts telling you what she admires in you, she's testing her own instincts. She's saying it out loud, hoping it would backfire. And sometimes she'll do it in layers, starting light. You're really easy to talk to. You're so grounded. It's rare you're the kind of man who notices the small stuff. Us guys miss that. If you brush these off with a jokey or downplay them, she might backtrack emotionally. But if you simply receive the words with quiet confidence, without bragging, without dismissing, she feels safer going deeper. Think of it like this. She's handing you a mirror. And in that mirror is the version of you that Makashir feels seen, protected, maybe even hopeful. If you accept that version without arrogance, you reinforce her belief that falling for you might not be so dangerous after all. But here's what's just as important. Don't start seeking compliments. Don't fish for validation. Let her work naturally. The more you stay grounded in who you are, the more space you'll give her to notice what makes you different. And when she does, that's when the real connection deepens. Remember, mature women aren't chasing flash. They're not impressed by surface. They're watching for substance. And when they find it, they'll let it slip out in these small, golden moments of truth. So, if she looks at you and tells you something real about who you are, not how you look, not what you own, but why you are, pay attention, because she doesn't say that to just anyone. Now, here's what I want to know from you. Have you ever had a woman say something unexpectedly deep or personal about you? Not a compliment, but a reflection of your character. Drop it in the comments. Let's see how many of you have seen this sign, and maybe didn't even realize it. Stay right here, because the next sign is even more revealing. It's subtle and a little confusing. She avoids slabbling. The relationship gets emotionally closer. That's up next in sign 6. She avoids relationship, sign 6. She sends you songs that remind her of you. Let's talk about 6. She sends you songs that remind her of you. Something most men overlook. A woman sends you a song that's not random. That's not just her saying it like this. It's her telling you something without saying it directly. Why? Because words can be scary. But music lets her feel safe. It lets her be vulnerable without feeling too exposed. Take Thomas, 52, runs a logistics firm in Ohio. Good man. Never been the poetic type. He's dating Melanie, 48, divorced, 2 grown kids, guarded heart. One morning, Thomas wakes up to a message. Just heard this, unthought of you. Attached a song, All of Me, by John Legend. He listens and suddenly, it's like Melanie saying, this is how I see, this is how I feel. Beauty, I'm not ready to say it with my own voice yet. That's what this sign is. She's using someone else's voice, someone else's melody, to lower her emotional armor. She's saying, you'll matter to me. But in code, a soft kind of code Senate. If you wish to be loved, love. But that doesn't mean shouting it from rooftops. Sometimes it starts as a whisper in the firm of a Spotify link. And if you're a kind of man who listens, who notices, she'll feel safe to go further. Don't brush it off. Don't overreact either. You don't need to text back a wall of emojis or tell her your life story. Just acknowledge it. Say something like that hit home. Great pick. It shows you felt it without buying need about it. Because when a woman sends you a song, it's not small talk. It's a test, a bridge. And if you walk across that bridge calmly, confidently, she'll send more. The real question is, are you listening, or are you still thinking this is just a playlist? And here's what makes this sign so powerful. It doesn't come from women who are playing games. It comes from women who are feeling something real and hoping you can meet them there without making them say it first. A woman's emotional moose choices, they're not noise, they're navigation. Now, I want to frame you. Type this in the comments. I notice the signals. Say it like you mean it. And don't even think about skipping out, because the next sign it hits where it hurts most. We're going deep, and I promise it's something no man should me nor since even her friends know all about you. Let me ask you something. 7. Her friends know all about you. Bluntly. Has she ever said, oh, my friend Amy thinks you're hilarious, Andy Hour, just standing there wondering, wait, who's Amy? That's not an accident. When a woman starts talking about you to her inner circle, especially her closest friends, that means you've gone from just a guy to real someone important, and possibly someone who scares her a little because actually cares. Let's take a look at Charles, 57, from Dallas, divorce, 10 years, steady job in construction management. It's no time for games. He meets Vanessa, 49, a school principal. Smart, polished, guarded. At first, she's casual. Drinks, dinner, decent conversation. But about 3 weeks in, shallots, it's slip. My friend Karen said I should stop smiling so much when I talk about you. Boom, right there, the game changes. You might not think much of it, but what Vanessa just revealed is this. You're a topic of conversation when you're not around, not because she's confused about you, but because she's interested deeply, and that terrifies her a bit. Now, here's what's important. Women do not talk about men they're unsure of with their closest friends, not in depth. Not with excitement, and especially don't introduce you into their social circle. Even by name, if they're planning to ghost you next week in meditations. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, never esteem anything as a fad vantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect. For her, that self-respect often means keeping men out of her world until she feels secure. If she is, letting her guard down and giving her friends a sneak peek into who you are, she's already made a decision, at least So, if her friends know about your dog, your job, the time you tripped on the sidewalk, that's not just gossip, that's groundwork. But here's the kicker. It also means she's watching how you carry yourself now more than ever, because she's built you up in her mind and maybe to them. And she's wondering, can this man actually hold the image I've painted of him? So, what should you do? Stay grounded. Don't let he inflate your ego. Don't start playing a role. Stay who you are. Be the kind of man who doesn't need validation, but who respects that she gave it. Because when a woman brings you into the conversation with her tribe, she's not just letting you in, she's risking being vulnerable, and that says more than any love you text ever could. Now, it's your turn. Type in the comments, a matter when, I'm not there. Short, true, Annette's, and trust, you'll want to stick around for the next one. She does. Next, it's bolder and yet so subtle, most men never see it coming. Sign 8, she only flirts via text. Here's A8, she only flirts via text. Strange truth. We live in a world more connected than ever, yet so many people are terrified of real connection. The woman flirts with you only through text, never in person, never with her voice, never through eye contact. What she's showing you isn't just shyness, it's fear wrapped in comfort. Let me tell you about Darren, 52, from retired firefighter, straight talker. He met Rachel, 47, on a dating app. Smart woman, strong opinions, great with words, over text, fireworks, emojis, teasing, even late-night vulnerability. But in person, she's distant, distracted, okay, but never flirty. No compliments, no spark in thighs, just polite conversation and a hug goodbye. Now, Darren's confused because as Rachel in his phone is playful, seductive, even romantic, but the Rachel sitting across from him at dinner feels like a coworker. What's going on here? It's simple. She feels safer when you're not physically present. Text gives her control. She can type, delete, rethink and show you a curated version, offer affection without risking exposure, embarrassment, or loss of power. And if she's carrying emotional baggage, past betrayal, or unresolved shame, that phone becomes a shield. In Letters to Lucilius, Seneca warned, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Now apply that here. Woman who craves connection only through a screen is often afraid of what real connection might reveal about her, about you, or about how fragile the bond truly is. So what does that mean for you? It means didn't fall for the fantasy. Words without presence are echoes. They make a noise, but they don't hold weight. She's flirting through text, but goes cold in person. That's not affection. It's a performance. Not necessarily out of malice, but often out of fear. An IOR, a man in your 400 and 500 second, or beyond. You don't have time to decode a mixed signals. You've seen enough life to know this. Real intimacy doesn't hide behind a screen. You handle it. You match reality with reality. The next time she sends you that flirty message, reply with something like, "You're bold on the phone." Can you say that over dinner? You'll learn two things fast. 1. Whether she's ready to meet you with the same energy face to face, or whether you've been investing in a fantasy that only exists in pixels. Remember, being flirty over text, ICZ, it's convenient, low risk, and lets her feel connected without being vulnerable. But if she can't flirt when she's sitting across from you, holding a drink, looking into your eyes, that's your signal. Because any woman who truly wants you there in person, where tone matters, where touch matters, where you can actually feel each other's energy. And if she's not ready for that, you need to be man enough to walk not out of anger, but out of clarity. Now, drop this in the comments below. I didn't chase pixels. It's direct, it's sharp, and it tells the world exactly what you stand for. And don't go anywhere, because the next sign is when she stops trying to impress you and starts revealing who she really is. Sign 9. She shows her feelings through body language. Body language. Words can lie, but the body, it rarely does. You want to know if a woman's falling for you, even if she hasn't said it yet. Watch her body, not her lips. Because when emotions get too real, too intense, too risky, the truth leaks through the muscles, the glances, the fidgeting, and the stillness. Let's talk about Mark, 58, divorced 3 years, living in Austin. Steady guy, runs a small architecture firm, spends his evenings listening to jazz and cooking for one. He met Christina, 49, at a local art exhibit. Their conversations, light, layered, intelligent, no grand confessions, nothing dramatic, but something was there. What clued him in wasn't what she said, it was what her body did. She leaned in when he spoke, even when Theron was noisy. Her feet pointed toward him, even when her head turned. She touched her necklace when he complimented her. She mirrored his posture without realizing, and when they lowered, she gently touched his forearm like an instinct, not a plan. That's not coincidence. That's attraction, fear, and emotional vulnerability, all right at one. Here's the thing. Some women, especially the ones who've been burned before, won't tell you how they feel. Not directly, not yet, but their bodies will. Whisper it when their mouths stay guarded. Marcos Aurelius said, "The soul comes dyed with the color of its thoughts." No, but we could just as only say, the body reveals the soul's temperature. When she's warm to you, her body can't hide it unless she's made a career in deception. So, how do you decode the signs? Start small. Does she break the touch barrier lightly, casually, but more than once? Does she tilt her head when you speak? exposing things at subconscious vulnerability. Are her pupils dilated in low light while talking to you? That's interest, not a lighting trick. When you sit side by side, does she lean just enough to read? Close the space. You don't need to be a body language expert, just need to be present. A man watches and listens with more than his ears. Now, flip the situation. If she's stiff, arms crossed, feet turned toward the exit, eyes darting, chin tucked, always sitting with a purse between you two, like a wall that's not nervous attraction, that's her exit plan already in motion. And don't let age fool you. Women over 40 are even more precise with what they do versus what they say. Many have Bienta to keep their feelings guarded, so when they let it show physically, that's not a mistake, it's trust forming. Let's circle back to Mark. After 3 outings, Christina hadn't said anything direct, but on a chilly Thursday night after dinner, she brushed his shoulder while laughing and held the contact half a second longer. Then Asti stood by his car, shed her hair behind her ear, looked up, and just waited. Not speaking, not moving, that was her. Yes, Mark didn't need a speech. He just needed to trust what he saw. Final takeaway. Gentlemen, women may hesitate to speak first, but hair bodies will always act first. And if you learn to see that, you'll never again second guesses us. Where you stand down now. Write this in the comments. I read the signs leavened. It's a quiet flex and a bold reminder that you're no longer blind to what matters. And don't blink, because the final sign coming next, it's the one you'll feel in your gut before she ever admits it. Sign 10. She asks 10. She asks deep questions about your life. Deep questions about your life. It starts small. What was your childhood like? What made you choose that career? Do you ever think about where you'll be in 10 years? These aren't just polite curiosities. These are signals, loud, intimate, often terrifying signals from a woman who's no longer just attracted to your surface, but is quietly exploring the man underneath. Let's get real. A woman who's just passing time doesn't care about your father's legacy, your broken friendship rem 20 years ago, or the philosophy that shaped how you treat people. But woman who's falling for you, she starts excavating your world with a chisel, not a bulldozer. Take John, 52, a mechanical engineer in Denver. Divorced, been through the dating apps, says he can tell within 5 minutes if a woman is genuinely interested or just bored and swiping between Pilates and Pinot. Then came Dana for 7booked.com. Voice. No performance, no selfie filters, just her. On their third Dinardo Gaither, just a simple question. What was the happiest moment of your life? And why? John was caught off guard. It wasn't flirtatious, it wasn't playful, it was surgical. And it made him pause, really pause. He said it was the time his daughter, now 24, sent him a birthday card that said, "You're the safest place ever known." Dana didn't smile, she didn't rush to respond. She leaned in and said, "Safe men don't always get safe love. Has that been true for you?" Boom. That wasn't small talk. That was intimacy unfolding through inquiry. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up, if thou wilt ever dig." When a woman is asking you these questions, she's digging, but not to manipulate. She's looking for that fountain to know if what's inside you is real, deep, and safe enough to hold her trust. She wants to know how you've suffered, not just how you've succeeded. She wants to understand how you process betrayal, not just how you win arguments. She wants to see how you think, not just how you act. And here's the quiet truth most men miss. When a woman asks about your inner world, she's asking permission to step into it. But there's a flip side. Some of you might think, isn't she just being nosy? Number nosy is asking if you still talk to your ex. Curious and emotionally invested is asking why that relationship ended and what it taught you. See the difference? This isn't about control. It's about connection. And most women over 40 don't have time for shallow waters anymore. They've been hurt. They've done the surface thing. Now, they want to swim in deep if the man they choose is emotionally available not to go there. Which brings us to you. When she starts asking you those deeper questions, don't shut down. Don't joke it off. Don't change the subject. You don't have to spill every trauma, but you do need to show her that you've thought about these things, that you've lived, reflected, evolved. The real test isn't just whether she wants to know, it's whether you're brave enough to let her. So, here's the final thought. Kasana Wynn looks you in the eye and says something like, "What do you think your biggest fear is?" she's not testing you, she's opening a door. And if you've watched this far, you're not the kind of man who lets that door conclusion close without at least walking through it. Thanks for staying with me through this journey. If these signs helped your guy, something or someone, share it in the comments with just 3 bold words. I see her. If this video gave you clarity, a new perspective, or just pause for a moment, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel right now so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you for watching.